Let's take a look at the gaming shed for 2026, shall we? Actually, you'll need to wait until the end of the video. Sorry. So, hello and welcome to another video on Behind the Curve Collecting. You joined me here in a very empty shed. In my last video, please go watch it, I was talking about my goals for 2026. And one of them being, I wanted to give my sheds a kind of a refresh. The room in which I have my games collection, a bit of a refresh. That only extended as far as giving it a fresh lick of paint, move stuff around and then just sand and paint again. And things quickly spiraled out of control since then, unfortunately. What I want to do right now is basically rip all this out. So I think it's been about 3 weeks now in the making, and that feels like an incredibly long time. It has not stopped raining.
The rather disappointing stats. It has been a very wet start to the year, and we have had rain every single day across the UK.
It's incredible, really, but it really has slowed me down. Yeah, the last thing I wanted to do is come out here when it's pitch black at night and it's raining.
Every single day.
It's cold and it's miserable, but I've persevered and I have got myself to the point where I am okay. Where I've ended up. Start at the beginning for those who may be interested. So to summarize, my games collection is out in a very cheap shed. The cheapest that I could buy at the time, fitted out incredibly cheaply, and we didn't know what we wanted to do with the space at the time. So it's a mess. I've stripped the front of the shed out completely because that's where the most cuts were, around the windows and the doors and all that kind of thing, and it looked horrific. That was the worst point for me, so I stripped it all back. And to give you an idea how unstrong, like, thin NDF sheet is, I could literally just snap it. And I didn't have any pictures that I'd taken. I must have deleted them, because I know that I took some, like, record pictures of how we built this up. But I quickly got to the point where I took everything out. I now have the Leaning Tower of Pisa in my actual shed of furniture that is from this room. My loft is just stacks and boxes full of games and the consoles and my computer and the TV and everything. I got absolutely everything out of here. Yeah, so I took the front off, and basically we used this kind of like self-adhesive insulation foil rolls and did all of the interior of the shed. And then on top of that, we used this 50mm styrofoam insulation board. I don't know the properties, insulating properties of styrofoam, but I imagine it's not that good, but it was cheap. And then on top of that, we put this MDF board, like everything. The same build-up is everywhere in this room. Even the floor was built up exactly the same, which made it very tall. It was like a 60mm floor, essentially. So every time I'd come into the shed, I'd see this like styrofoam insulation is poking up because it's taller than the timber as you come into the shed. And it's niggled me for like 5 years. I quickly came to the conclusion that like boarding this out with, I think, like 12mm plywood would be the best option in terms of being able to hang anywhere off the wall. It would just be ludicrously expensive, hundreds of pounds to order a number of sheets, and that's assuming that I could do the work myself. So I quickly went, okay, well, that's not going to happen anytime soon, so that's going to have to be later in the year, next year. Maybe I'll just come to terms with what I have. So you're supposed to, when fitting something out like an outdoor workspace or whatever you want to call it, you're supposed to start at the floor and then build up off of there. So I was like, well, I'll start with the floor because I hate the floor. It's too tall as it is, and I'll gain some height. And it also gave me a chance to just open up some strips in the insulation that's on the floor. I had a look, and the timbers, like, they all seem intact. They're not like disintegrating. More than I can ask for, brilliant. So I left that insulation down as like the base layer. Now, the only thing that I do have some experience with is loft insulation boards. That's what they're typically used for. They're tongue and groove, so they all kind of like, they're supposed to slot together. So I was like, right, I'll do that. They're 18mm thick, and I should, I worked it all out, drew myself like a little diagram or like pretty much to scale to work out how many I would need. And I did it, and I was pretty happy with myself. All these like OSB boards, created a hell of a mess. There was a load of like creaking in here that I thought was the styrofoam, but it turns out it wasn't. It is actually, unfortunately, the floorboards themselves. And despite me screwing a load of them down, because all they're nailed down, and unfortunately they still creak. So I've not managed to get rid of that, which is annoying, But I know what it is now, rather than just going, oh, it's that bloody styrofoam insulation, I need to get rid of that one day. So what I did in the end was I ordered myself a roller carpet, and it took me probably about 2 hours and to like just stick it down to the floor and everything. But I don't think I've done a bad job. And because the floor is now so much lower, there's a gap between the boards and the floor, but I think that would be ideal for some sort of skirting detail. I've spent several £100s. Wife has been annoyed that I've been spending so much time and money on this shed, and she's like, there's things to do in the house. Why aren't you doing things in the house? I was like, well, I'm practicing my DIY skills. It doesn't really matter if I mess something up out here. It's cheap. You know, I don't want to mess something up in the house. I also wanted, I'm done with this like whole white aesthetic that I had in here. At the time, we just painted it white. Didn't know what it's going to be for, just paint it white. I'm just done with it. So everything's white, all the furniture's white, the carpet, all I had in here was just a load of offcuts from the house, just like stuck down to the floor. That all the edges of those were starting to really like come up and fray after 5 years, unsurprisingly. And that was silver. So everything was just like, it just felt so cheap and crap. And then behind me, you might not be able to tell on camera because there's nothing to like put it against apart from me and this back wall. It is a Kilkenny, I don't know, pale pastel type green. And the wife and I have been really like kind of like into these kind of colours for quite a while now, and I just automatically went, I want one of these colours. So I've got this feature wall, whether that's still like an interior design choice that people do nowadays, I have no idea, but I have a feature wall that is this colour, and then the two side walls are just white. And as I said, the front of this is still just basically completely bare now. This has been such a mental ordeal. Like, I'm not going to shy away from the fact that I've found this incredibly difficult, and it has taken a toll on alongside life and all of its tribulations, and just how done I am with the weather.
Every single day.
All the time at the moment, like, I cannot overstate how done I am with that. But I am overwhelmingly just exhausted from thinking about this for 3 weeks, and on the face of it, it's like, okay, yeah, you've painted the wall and you've put some carpet in. It just feels so much more than that. Honestly, it feels so much more. The point is, the fact that I was done with this kind of like white aesthetic everywhere. I want to go towards a more, I don't know if I'm jumping on a bandwagon here or everyone's going along the same kind of lines when it comes to more cozy game space. Warm temperatures, warm colours and things, and like lighting. My idea for a more cozy, warm, inviting gaming space, a gaming collection, I want it all to be much more curated. I do not want like bulk volume of games in here. So let's take a look at the gaming shed for 2026, shall we? Three weeks of on and off hard work, and I think I've finally got to the point where I'm actually really happy. It's just a nice little feeling of pride and accomplishment, contentness. I'm so happy with how this has turned out, considering that I got overly ambitious to begin with, and I got everything out of here, as you would have seen by the thumbnail. And I just want to like talk you through the little zones, the zoning that I've done in this room. So you've joined me in my retro corner, as it were. This side of the shed is the retro. So I've got my lounge chair, which is holding up pretty well. I'm going to give it a nice scrub down, but it's holding up really well. This thing is HomCom recliner chair. I've got the one Billy bookcase here, completely undecided on the shelves at the moment, because this is retro, super retro, I suppose you'd say, 30 years and older now. Doesn't feel great to say. This is going to be like Mega Drive and N64 and PlayStation 1 with my CRT, with the consoles and the VHS, if I should ever want to watch that, I guess. I've even got a plant, it's real, yes. I wanted a bit of colour in here, and I'd like to think that that green kind of almost matches the back wall. Let me just kind of like take you around the other bits of the room, I suppose. So we're going to have to imagine a little bit here. We've just got a few little cleaning products and things, but if that side's the 30-year-old, kind of proper retro classic stuff, this is the almost retro, I'm afraid to say, guys. 7th generation HDMI capable, outputable consoles, hopefully into a Imaginary, you just have to imagine it. HD TV of some sort. I do have the era appropriate Panasonic Viera 32-inch in the house. The lounge TV broke, so the upstairs TV went into there. This TV went into the upstairs. Unfortunately, guys, 20 years ago, 360 and PS3, yes indeed. It's also going to be Nintendo Wii and probably the PS2 as well, because I do have a HDMI output for that. And therefore, as well as this behind me as well, this secondary Billy bookcase here, just got the two in here. They're only kind of like the normal mid-tier sizes. And again, I'm not going to be filling these out with games. I'm really going to be compact and limited with a little bit of room to grow. But yeah, initially, really is going to be quite a small collection out here. And I'm thinking this bottom shelf is going to be like a display console. So we're going to have the backwards compatible PS3. I'm going to have my Final Fantasy 13 360, probably the white 360, that kind of stuff along the bottom shelf. And I'm just going to leave myself with potentially around 3 shelves for games for that kind of like more modern era there. And that brings me on to my maybe most contentious part of the room, is my kind of like PC setup area. Now, I don't know why I'm vibing with this whole kind of like, not squish or squeeze myself in here, but I can easily just sit down and do computer things, right? And then I've got the mic here for that kind of voiceover type things and gaming and whatnot. But how I had it before was everything up against the wall, facing the wall, obviously. And I just didn't like the back of the chair kind of facing out into the room. You know, you turn around and you just see the back of the chair. I didn't like that. I don't know what it was about it as such. But this feels so much better, kind of like I've got my like enclosed PC space. But at the same time, I can then see outside. I can see this super retro corner as well. And I'll probably have to see the TV as well from here. So I might be able to watch something. If my son's in here gaming on like the Mega Drive playing Sonic or something, I can see what's going on there. I can help him, cheer him on, whatever. Rather than just being sat here like, you know, I don't like it. I don't like it whatsoever. As well as the fact for kind of like YouTube, I'm creating myself a secondary recording kind of like zone, so that I've got the super retro over there and I'm going to have a few accompanying bits in shot wherever that might be, and then I've got a secondary place here so I can have a completely different setup for the back of the camera. And that's something I'm really interested in doing this year. I'm going to need some sort of like lighting over here or some ceiling lighting or something, but I'm really excited for just being able to create different spaces. So at the moment, it's obviously very apparent that I've only got kind of like the bare bones in here. I've just got some of the hardware. I've just got the kind of first initial box down from the loft and in here, so I can just put things in places, kind of see and feel how the space works. And so far, it's going great guns. I'm obviously yet to start plugging everything in and just seeing how it's really going to work. And it's going to be incredibly apparent, obviously, that I've got nothing on the walls yet. I've not done any shelving. Obviously, it would have been kind of the right time to do it when I didn't have anything else in here to put up the shelving. But until I put things in here, I don't know what I want to do and where I want to go with it. Alongside me being much more deliberate with my gaming and my gaming collection this year, is exactly the same story with kind of like decorations and the items that I choose to have in here with me, which is why I've left it bare at the moment. I want to be able to set the room up and I want to be able to use the room and just see how it feels and just be really patient and picky with the things that I want to do. I'm probably going to want to maybe get a kind of like small kind of art pieces in here, not art pieces, but artwork, kind of like game artwork or film artwork, something like that, because a lot of the time, whilst some box artwork for a game, for example, can be quite good and you want to display it and have it all out like that, sometimes it's not the best example of artwork for that game or that thing or that IP. And that's why I want to go down and just get some really meaningful things to me and just dot them around, you know, in actual frames rather than just kind of posters and things. So again, that's something that I'm really excited to do. Slowly but surely, just deliberate. I don't want to be like, here's a load of stuff, let's just fill the room up. It's not about filling the room up, it really isn't. I want space in here, but I don't want to feel crowded. That's really important, I think, for this year. Complete change up for 2026. Since having this space, this shed for 5 years now, initially it was a nothing room. It was a chuck some old furniture in it room. You know, oh, we're done with that chair inside, we're getting a new chair or a sofa. Chuck the old chair in here and whatever, and it's just loads of rubbish and stuff. And then it evolved, I think around 2 years ago, to its initial kind of like Revision Zero original gaming room. And I'll try and put like a clip here of that kind of like initial game tour. Let me show you. So here it is in its almost entirety. My games room / collection is currently an utter mess. My little shed of dreams, or ruins, whatever you prefer. And it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough around the edges, but you know, it's a typical kind of man space. There's lots of my things that I love in here, but it's not particularly well coordinated. There's no real time, obviously money, like spent on that kind of thing. And I think for the last year or so, we've had that kind of second iteration, that revision 1, where I had to, I don't know how we did it, but I got my kind of like wife's command center desk in here as well. And there are shelves and stuff everywhere, and we needed that space. And now it feels like revision 2 now. Gaming Shed 2.0, something like that, whatever you want to call it. Let me know down in the comments below what you call it. Nice positive comments only, please. Not the shit tip 5000. But yeah, this feels like such a big level up for me, and it's so much more comfortable rather than just having all the walls are just white and I've just got games and stuff on all the shelves filling up the space. It's just a little bit more cozy and easygoing this year. My next video, just to let you in on a little secret for any of those that have got to the end of the video, all of my games are in the loft. I want to get every single game I own and stack them in here and just have a chill, cozy session sorting through them to see, firstly, what I want to have in here, and then secondly, it'll give me the opportunity to actually like put them into like, you know, consoles and stuff, so I can put them away nicely, and it'll be much easier going forward to just pick and choose. I really hope that you like the space that I've created. I'm absolutely loving it at the moment. It really feels like my work's been rewarded, put a lot of effort into this. I'm really looking forward to 2026 now. This has been my 2026 Gaming Shed update, a complete overhaul. I don't think you find many people that just go, you know what, get it all out and start again. But that's what I've pretty much done here, guys. So I hope you appreciate that. Please do like the videos, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this. It's full steam ahead, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.